Hi, this is for video number 2, differentiated instruction. So for question number 1, I differentiated the lesson for a distinct group of 4 students. I based how I was planning on differing the lesson by the students' prior reading scores from past stories that they read. So if I went back and saw that they were not scoring a 70% or better, then I knew that I would need to make an adjustment to how they were learning the material in order for them to comprehend the story. So I would tailor the test to meet their comprehension abilities. During language arts, during the video, we could see students are paired up in groups of 2. They have read the story twice together. Now they are coming up with a total of 10 questions about the story to ask each other and to answer in order to prepare themselves for the reading test the next day. The 4 students who are struggling, who are not meeting that 70% or better, are back with me at the back, and they're working on answering 10 questions that I have prepared for them to guide them in the right direction. During this time, the rest of the class that is working together is being monitored by the teacher's aide. So the group that I'm working with, we are practicing a strategy called Fan and Pick, and it has 10 questions that have been written down. I found questions in the book, and that would relate to the story that I wrote down, and they would have a card in the middle. They would roll a dice, and whatever number that landed on, they would do what that number told them to do. So each child would be actively participating. So like, for example, number 1, if a child rolled a number 1, then they would fan the cards. And if another child rolled a number 2, then they would pick, and then they would read the question aloud, and it would go down the line. So question number 2. During planning, I did at first have a little bit of a difficult time finding a different avenue for learning that would really benefit these students. I wanted the group of students to have the same experience as the other ones and have the same expectations of what they were learning, but I knew that they needed to learn in a different way to perform higher on the test. So I wanted an experience that would be hands-on, that would provide an oral reading of the questions so that they could comprehend the questions better. So if the questions are being read to them, I feel that they would be able to perform higher. And I've seen that this is true when I sit with them during the test and I read each question to them, and it really allows them to think, then they tend to perform higher. So I handle this by seeking out my cooperating teacher's guidance, and she introduced me to a list of instructional strategies that would be effective, and one of them was the fan and pick, which I used during the video lesson. So number 3, based on this teaching experience, I have learned that I can expect the same from all students, and I can even use the same material, but the way I'm delivering it to them needs to be different. It needs to be altered to meet their needs. For example, during the final reading test over the story, I can read the questions to the students to help strengthen their comprehension, or I can refer back to the fan and pick activity, which helps build their comprehension because they're not having to come up with the questions on their own with their partner. I'm giving them the questions, what makes it easier, definitely easier for them to study and prepare. So they will tend to perform higher. And I would like to do this with the future lessons. I would like to work with smaller groups because I think it tends to work better because I'm focusing more on their needs.